Review copy provided by Nintendo. There's been plenty of fitness-based games in the past. On Nintendo platforms alone, you have the Wii Fit series that did an admirable job at integrating exercising into a game, but it never felt like a balance of being a game and a workout. That's where Ring Fit Adventure finds its place, a balance of being both a video game and working out. Despite being a game about fitness, there's a narrative here, though it's filled with all sorts of exercising jokes and puns as you'd expect from Nintendo's Treehouse. It's charming in some instances, and corny in others. You play as an everyday jogger running through a fantasy world when you suddenly come across a mysterious ring. Coming from the ring is an ominous voice that tricks you into pulling apart the locks on it, releasing the evil Drago. He's a giant buff dragon that's keen on releasing his evil forces on the rest of the world. What that exactly means, I'm not entirely sure, but either way it's bad somehow and we have to stop him. Together we team up with the sentient ring named Ring because of course. He's a magical ring that's able to withhold Drago's powers, at least with the help of a partner. That's us. The both of us will go on a journey across the world, fighting exercise-themed monsters, collecting coins to buy workout supplies, and take on anything that stands in our way. In terms of writing, I found the humor of the story to be occasionally funny with some entertaining one-liners and a few awkward lines mixed in. Ring, in particular, is the only voice character, and so it's weird to hear some of his one-liners with no reception. Drago is his opposite in a lot of conversations, but it's weird because he's not a voice character, but still a pretty pivotal one. I did like that there's some sort of narrative backdrop here. It's one of the better setups to a fitness game, but there's still room for improvement, of course. Ring Fit Adventure may not be a narrative masterpiece, but what it does do is craft an interesting concoction of fitness and entertainment. The star of the package is the Adventure Mode. That's a core RPG adventure with different workout routines integrated into it. What makes this all work is the two included accessories with Ring Fit, the Joy-Con leg strap and the Ring-Con. The leg strap ties the left Joy-Con to your thigh to gather the metrics of your lower body, like when you jog or squat. The Ring-Con, on the other hand, uses your right Joy-Con to gather the metrics for your upper body. The two do a decent job at translating your real-life movements into the video game world. Speaking of which, you'll be traversing through it with these accessories. The leg strap tracks your jog and sprint. Luckily for those of you that don't want to piss off your neighbors, there's a silent mode that lets you squat instead, to not make as much noise but still get the workout when your character runs. As you make your way through these vibrant, colorful worlds, you'll come across all sorts of interactable elements. Coins, collectibles that raise your XP, items to use in battle, and more. These elements are usually grabbed by either sucking them into the ring by pulling on it, or blowing up crates by pushing into the ring. Running through the RPG world was one of the best moments in Ring Fit Adventure. I easily got lost in trying to interact with everything in sight, and the more I continued through the campaign's many worlds, the more interactive it became. I'd aim the ring down and push to hover in midair or jump. I'd pull apart the ring like a vacuum to bring objects closer to me. Later platforming sections had me squatting on slingshot platforms that used my momentum to throw me forward. I'm not the biggest fan of squats, but integrating them into platforming made it a much more bearable experience. In the same way I'll get a runner's high from long distance running, I felt that endorphin release playing Ring Fit. The pacing of running through the environment did get interrupted by enemy encounters that take on the form of a traditional turn-based RPG battle. These moments felt more like workouts than any other part of the game, and that's because your attacks are actual workouts. They're cleverly transformed into different types of attacks that focus on working out your upper body, lower body, arms, and general yoga. Each attack has its own battle stats and range in different rep speeds. Overhead press, for example, works out your arms and starts at a gradual pace until it speeds up towards the end. I love that you can color coordinate moves against enemies of the same color for bonus damage. Gamifying elements like that got me to do a variety of different workouts despite me not always liking them, solely for the sake of landing more damage. After a while, these battles started to feel a bit more repetitive, coming off more as a workout than a video game. Part of that I think is due to the pacing of coming from a speedy jog to a slow stop. To combat later game repetition, new moves were constantly added to my attack arsenal. However, it was ultimately up to me to decide which moves I saved for a battle. Like a Pokemon's limited amount of moves, you're forced to select your primary list of attacks. You can swap these in and out between levels though. It's recommended that you keep switching out attacks to strategize against certain enemies, but also keep a balanced and varied workout routine. Along with your attacks are potions, or rather smoothies, that you can craft to aid in battle. As later sections of the campaign came, I found myself relying on these more than not to survive battles and not restart a workout. Outside of the adventure mode, you can play a handful of minigames that take on the Mario Party-like approach to the Ring-Con and leg strap. Whack-a-mole, for example, uses the same workout as something like an overhead press to work out your biceps as you push and pull on the Ring-Con to hit the moles. These gamified workouts were fun in short-sized bursts for extra calorie burn and XP boost. You also have the option to press and pull on the Ring-Con outside of the game and still gain XP. At that point, it feels a lot less like a game, but if you'd like to be that person that takes the Ring-Con to work or to the gym to gain some extra XP during breaks, then you can completely do that. In terms of accessibility, there are some options in the settings to turn down or up the difficulty to better suit your performance. Ring Fit recommends finding a balance of things that challenge you but don't overextend your abilities. For anyone that just has trouble performing certain moves, you can tone down these moves too, to less focus on certain body parts that may have trouble performing certain workouts. While I didn't finish Ring Fit Adventure's campaign, as it could easily take months to complete the over 100 levels across 20 worlds, I found myself actively enjoying the workouts it threw at me. The idea of throwing RPG mechanics into a fitness game may sound corny on paper, but in practice I came out sore and prideful of the work I was able to accomplish with every session. While Ring Fit Adventure doesn't have the most jaw-dropping presentation out there, I enjoyed the vibrant, eye-catching colors and graphics on display. Just starting the game brought me into the zen-like room with accessories being replicated from my real-life ones. The presentation alone felt like an empty dance studio, but in a cute, welcoming way. Diving into the adventure, the world was inviting, with wide open spaces that enticed me to explore it. Of course, the design of these levels are still pretty linear, with some added verticality in later sections when platforming gets introduced. Regardless of how straightforward it was, I enjoyed seeing the landscape around me and how it integrated into fun exercising puns. The performance in general felt fine. The resolution appeared to be at 900p in dock mode while 720p in handheld mode, both running at around 30 frames per second. Yes, you can still play this in tabletop mode, but Nintendo did reassure me this was more meant for dock mode. Ring Fit Adventure's music is subtle but catchy. I was most captivated by the use of music in conjunction with the workouts. Although yes, I thought the music running through the overworld was charming, what really caught my attention was the sound design with it. Some attacks, for example, follow the beat of the background song, almost like a metronome. The beat not only is catchy, but helps you guide the pace throughout the workout and the attack. It's a clever use of music that often got me through the final reps of an attack as I was almost ready to give up. Ring Fit Adventure feels like the best example of a video game exercising combo. While motion track based games like Beat Saber have blended the two before, Ring Fit Adventure feels like the first game I've played that directly tackles both topics and successfully integrated both for the most part. I enjoyed the RPG adventure, and despite some elements starting to feel more like workouts than entertainment, I can easily see myself picking up the Ring-Con 3 times a week as a gym replacement. You won't get a six-pack from this alone, but you'll definitely get toned, and with the right food choices, you'll see some results.